Hiya, folks. What?
It's Pennywise the Clown.
Yeah, our new guest this time, everyone. It's Pennywise. No.
You'll
All right.
float
I'll do the real
too.
one.
I mean, it's
Hello and
sort of
welcome.
on topic. It's sort of on theme.
Are we just going to use that? Is that going to be the intro?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm Ethan.
I'm Reagan,
And I'm Madelyn.
and welcome back to the 2 a.m. Campfire Club, because we didn't actually say that.
Well, I tried to, but you said no.
No, I said it's Pennywise the Clown. But we're talking about Stranger Things. We could talk
Which
about
definitely is relevant to Pennywise the Clown.
No, because Finn Wolfhard is in it.
Well, that's
And
a little bit of a stretch.
And
What do
so
you
is
mean? It's the same person. He plays a little boy.
It's like comparing
being
every
tortured.
Will Smith. It's like comparing Toy Story to what? Like any other Tom Hanks movie?
yeah, I mean Toy Story and Splash and that movie where he lives in the airport are all famously the same movie.
Yeah, they're exactly the same.
Lost,
Because that's how movies work.
not Lost. What's the one on the island?
I've been trying to think of it. The only word that's coming to my head is Uncharted, but I know that's not it.
Which is also an Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Not an Amazing Spider-Man. It's a
No,
Spider-Man.
It is an Amazing Spider-Man movie because Tom Holland's in Uncharted and Tom Holland's in Spider-Man No Way Home and Andrew Garfield's in Spider-Man No Way Home and Amazing Spider-Man. Therefore, Uncharted is the same movie as Tick Tick Boom.
Well, by that logic, then it must also be, I don't know, like friggin' Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
It's the same movie, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't think of any other person who's in Hacksaw Ridge. I was going to keep this going until we got to Kevin Bacon, but I don't remember who's in that movie. Who plays the girlfriend? That's like someone.
Africa. I don't remember. It was a good movie, though.
I've never seen it, so
it's one of my favorite movies. And Andrew Garfield plays the main boy. The littlest
which is the same thing as Finn Wolfhard. He plays
who's also a little boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a little lad, yeah.
Finn Wolfhard, famous for his role as little boy.
In everything. He's all of the little boys.
He was little boy in Goldfinch.
He's little boy in Stranger
Things.
Name another thing that Finn Wolfhard is in.
It
Chapter 2.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I think we got them all. We did it, guys.
He's in Stranger Things.
Wasn't he in that other horror movie?
Stranger Things 3. Stranger Things 4.
Oh no. And Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I literally forgot that movie existed.
Yeah, he was in that. I did it. I named another one. We should do the episode.
Madeline, you really like Stranger Things. That was like the first thing that I ever knew about you.
I do really like Stranger Things. Stranger Things is my entire life. I remember when it was, what season was it? I think it was 3.
There's only 3 seasons, so there's not that many.
What was the one? The third one is where it's set in 4th of July, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I remember.
It's the one with the Mind Flayer or whatever it was.
Well, it's the Mind
the
Flayer
worm dude
in 2 and 3, but
yeah,
he's not a little lad. He's the big lad.
He's the biggest lad.
He is
the biggest lad there ever done was.
What were you saying?
I remember when the third one came out. I think it came out on 4th of July, and instead of actually doing anything, me and some of our other family friends, we all just sat there and binge watched the entire season. I think it took us like 12 hours.
Yeah, I remember my sister and my stepmom and I like binged. I don't know if we binged the whole season at once. Maybe we did, but I just remember staying up. So I think it was like 3 a.m. when we got done because we were all like, we could go to bed. or we could keep watching, which I regret doing because honestly, season 3 was not that good.
I liked season 3.
I liked season 3.
It was my favorite season.
Why? Are we? Oh no, we're gonna be doing this again.
Oh, no.
I don't remember it that well though, but I remember it was my favorite.
I remember it upset me very much.
It was
Like a lot.
kind of disturbing.
I
Yeah.
really liked the. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do a compliment sandwich. Okay, I really liked that hospital scene with the thing with the like goo and the monster.
Yes.
And that was terrifying. It was gross. It worked so well.
Wasn't
I
it
did
like
not
Nancy?
it was Nancy and Jonathan, but then all
Yeah,
the
they
kids
were
like
stuck in
arrived and then Elle like
Okay, yeah.
blew it up.
She's like,
And that was
Jonathan.
really cool.
Sorry, I really like the name Jonathan. Every time I hear it, I think of Mjolnir.
I don't. So I liked that scene. I didn't like what they did to Hopper's personality. I didn't like the final thing, the like final episode showdown. I
That's
didn't
fair.
like the stupid never-ending story sequence.
That was
didn't
hilarious.
I didn't like the
That
Russians.
was really funny. Nah,
I
Russians are always the bad guy. It's like Palpatine.
It was
Everything's
just a
like
lot.
Palpatine if you
That
think hard enough.
the whole season
Yes.
was very all over the place, tonally, thematically. I didn't like all of the stuff going on, like Steve and Dustin and Robin and Erica's, like, for most of that plot line was just a whole lot of nonsense, despite the fact that those are some, like, Steve is one of my favorite characters. Robin quickly became one of my favorite characters, and they just spent like most of the season just like, oh, this is wacky. We're in a Russian base beneath the mall.
But don't they like get drunk and that was hilarious?
Yeah.
And then they're like throwing up in
There's some
the
funny
bathroom.
bits. Like there's some good bits. And I feel like that's true of the whole season. Like there's some good bits in there, but it's just a lot of nothing. I didn't like the fact that the main kids had like nothing of relevance to do. I don't remember anything that like Mike did. What was Mike doing? What was Will doing? I don't know.
Just simping and being mad that Hopper was like, she's my daughter.
Yeah, but like as far
I didn't
as
like
to
Hopper.
do with the
I
with the
agree
monsters, what were they doing?
Because, I don't know. To be honest, might be a hot take. I don't really like Mike, honestly.
I don't think anybody likes Mike.
He's just annoying.
The cast
Like,
likes Mike.
His face like bothers me. I don't know. And with the haircut, like I can't. Like I literally
I mean, the haircut's really bad, but
I like Dustin.
I've watched
he's a cool,
some.
He's a cool
I love
guy.
Will.
Yeah.
Why?
I watched some interviews of like the cast,
Yes.
and Finn Wolfhard just spends the entire time making fun of Mike. It's very
Mike
funny.
is just so like he's awkward. I'm like, bruh, he's too needy, and I'm like, you need to stop.
He's quite needy. I hope that
I
they
like
do.
Max too.
Yeah,
Oh my
Max
gosh,
is
Max.
pretty great. I hope they do more with the kids this upcoming season. It looks like they will, because I feel like they just sort of, I don't know, season 3 just felt like they were just leaning so far into like the fan favorite things, like Steve and Dustin, and then like
I will say that
Erica, you know, because people liked Erica being sassy, so now we're gonna make her a main character. Which I don't hate necessarily the idea of her becoming a main character.
But just like the way they did it.
What she didn't do anything. Like she was just being sassy for many episodes. Joyce and Hopper got their own plotline, which is great, except for the fact that they totally changed Hopper's personality, and so their romance was just weird. It's just he was just like angry. He was just angry and yelling the whole time.
Yeah. I do like seeing him as a dad, though.
Yes.
Like, that was very nice. I was like, that's cute.
What's one of the last scenes in the show where, like 11 finds that letter from him, which is, like, that he wrote at the beginning with, like, setting boundaries about, like, her and Mike, and he's like, oh, just for the sake of your poor old dad. Like that stuff is cool. I like that.
I think that made me cry when I watched it.
Yeah,
because it was just
that's
like,
valid. That's definitely like there's definitely good stuff in season 3. It's just like especially compared to season 1, which was so like just felt so tight and like everything.
Season 1 was really good. I
mhm.
personally didn't like season 2 that much.
I
Really, I
think I
thought season two
prefer
was really good.
season I think I prefer season 2 to season 1 just because I feel like the things that season 2 did with the characters were like that's what I wanted to see. Like that's just it's more of like a personal preference thing. I think from like a like filmmaking standpoint and a storytelling standpoint, I do think that season 1
Mhm.
was better, but I don't know, like
I
I
just didn't
feel
find
like
season 2 nearly as interesting. It wasn't very satisfying for me to watch. And I
that's
think season,
understandable.
which I think is also partially because, unlike like what you were saying before, part of what I liked about season 3 was that it was a little bit, it wasn't as put together, and it was a little bit more goofy in the way
Mhm.
that
I
they
like
do things,
you.
which is the kind of thing I like more than serious stuff. I don't like serious things as much. So, and I liked the aspects of horror that they mixed in a little bit better in season 3 as opposed to season 2.
Yes, I will say that
Yeah.
season 3 did the scary bits a lot better than season 2. There was never a point in season 2 where I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I don't get like scared by things, but
Mhm.
I was definitely like, oh, like I was at least
A little
grossed out.
jumpy.
I was
Yeah.
grossed out
Yeah.
season 3.
It was
Um
it was kind of disturbing.
yeah, like I
And
was
I'm a
disturbed. That's
person
a
who
good
doesn't like to watch that, but I still found it very entertaining and didn't want to look away because it was still interesting. It was
Yeah.
gross.
yeah.
It was really gross. I'll go so far as to say it was like extremely gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like 11 and Max's friendship though.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would love to see more of that. Like if that's one thing I could ask for, it would be that. Because I feel like they put them like against each other in season 2,
Mhm.
and now they're like friends in season 3. And I'm like, okay. But again, like you said, one of the things I really didn't like was how like I liked all the different storylines, but it got to be like too many. Like there were like I think 3 good ones that were like good, but then they like off tracked off of those threes and it became like a bajillion.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the
So
storylines. So there was whatever the kids were doing, which was
the main kids.
yeah, and then but
And
like
then you have
11 and Max were sort of separate from that for a bit of time.
yeah.
And then we had Joyce and Hopper and Murray and Alexi, which
And then there
also
was
had
the
like
Nancy and
the
Jonathan,
Terminator guy. Yeah, the Nancy and Jonathan
Mhm.
were doing their whole Scooby Doo thing.
which felt like nothing
Very,
to me.
very, yeah. I mean, it was kind of pointless.
It was
Like,
it. See, I
Yeah.
thought it was the
there was,
thing. I do.
it,
I will. There was a hard time in that season of feeling interested in all of the plots because
Yeah.
some of them were just them putting pieces together that somebody else had already put together.
yeah.
Mhm.
That was the thing about the Nancy and Jonathan storyline is I'm like,
We
okay,
already
like
know
what
all
is
of this. This isn't
we're
telling
not
us
learning
anything new.
anything because we were getting all this information in Billy's plot line.
Yes.
And so it's like, what is the point? It felt very Nancy and Jonathan this season felt like Betty and Jughead.
Oh my God, you're so right. Oh my. Correct. Correct.
But like Betty and Jughead in season 2 of Riverdale, where it's like this isn't the thing that's driving the plot and keeping you intrigued in the storyline. This is just like they're required to do investigative stuff because that's who they are as characters.
Yeah.
So we're just going to give them some mystery to solve.
Yeah.
They're
And then it
gonna
would be
do
like,
it, and it won't be important, but they're gonna do it
Exactly.
because that's what they do.
I have one job on this ship. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it.
I think there was both things that they did better in season 3 and worse, which I think they tried a little too hard to lean into the several like multiple groups of people doing different things and solving the story. Which is what I think made season 1 really good was that they did a great job executing on making all of those plot lines interesting, creating things, and then having them all slowly figure it out together, and then
Yeah.
put the last few pieces together all at once when they got
Yeah.
them all in one place. That
I
was
think
like really interesting.
yeah, season 1 did a really good job of like weaving the storylines together and like when they came together and when they came apart and then like when they all finally culminated at the end. It was very satisfying
Yeah,
storytelling. Whereas I feel like season 3 was just like, okay, we've got all these things
they're all
happening
doing stuff.
and they do like eventually culminate, but a lot of the things where it's like, okay, all of our characters are in the same place, but it's not like, you know, like in
Like
season
the
1
mall
it'd be
scene.
yeah, we got that mall scene which is very similar to like them at the school in season 1.
Mhm.
I would say
Then they just broke right back off again and split up a little
exactly.
bit, which
Exactly.
felt
And it
stupid. It was
wasn't
just like
like
getting together for the sake of having peace for no reason.
well, and like the thing is that in the first season, like when they all came together at the school, each of them had information and had like a piece of the puzzle and something going on. They all brought something to the table. Whereas
Mhm.
in season 3, when they all come together, it's like some
I
of
feel
you
like they
have
all
relevant information, but
Some of them had
like
new information. Some had
yeah,
information everywhere, and it
yeah, like
wasn't. They were just there for the sake of
I
having all the
can't even
characters from
like
season
were
one.
Jonathan and Nancy even there? I don't remember.
They
Like I
weren't.
remember their
They weren't
plotline for the
there.
first half of the
I think
season,
so.
and then after that, I feel like they just completely disappear from the show.
Yeah, that's because they weren't
And
important. They were. They literally just didn't have a plot. They were there for the sake of just keeping the characters going, and
and
then they
like
moved on.
I'm trying to remember because Joyce and Hopper they were traveling back from like Illinois or whatever, and they
Mhm.
were had the Russian guy was like on them, and they had Alexei, so they had some sort of information, I guess. Oh, I think what it was is that they knew how to shut down the laser thing, which Steve and Robin and Dustin had discovered.
Mhm.
So there
On
was that.
accident, right?
Yeah, because they were literally just like, huh, there's like a weird tunnel in this wall or whatever.
Like behind
So
his
we're just
workplace.
gonna,
He's like, oh, it's like a
because like,
shortcut or whatever.
since Dustin doesn't have bones, we're gonna just send him shimmying down this tunnel and then see what's
Yeah.
going on here. And then they do, and then they end up in a Russian base for the entire
They're
season.
like, "Uh-oh, we found the base.
And then
How
it's
did
never
this
ending story
happen?"
and how much he loves his girlfriend. They're like, you're lying.
Which,
Yeah, I feel like
Then
that
they
was
sing a
Dustin's
beautiful
fault.
song.
No.
yep,
I actually loved that scene.
that
I thought it
scene
was hilarious.
I'm a little torn because there are elements about that scene where I'm like, I don't know if the things that I find hilarious are what is supposed to be funny. Like to me the like mind flare chasing after them is like the funniest part of the scene. Just like this giant thing
Yes.
just like stomping. I don't know if that's supposed to be funny or scary. Obviously the song itself is supposed to be funny.
I will say, I thought the scene was stupid in that if it hadn't happened, then Hopper wouldn't have died.
I just
Because,
feel
like,
like
yeah, it was just pointless, and they just threw it in there for the sake of making that running joke come to completion. But
yeah,
it
it's
wasn't important
really
enough for it to be funny or anything.
well, and it's also just really weird to throw that in your final battle
Yeah.
of like this is a horror show and now we're just
Well,
breaking all of the tension and removing like this creature is no longer scary because I'm just watching it comically like stomp down the road.
Yeah.
After this
well,
like
never
cute
ending story plays.
yeah. It's a
Sung
bit
by two
strange,
absolute children.
but
I do
yeah.
love Dustin. Dustin's one of my favorite characters.
Dustin's great.
My three favorite are probably Dustin, Steve, and Max.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
I
say
used to like Jonathan a lot, but season 2 and 3 I didn't like him as much.
I'd say probably it probably goes Steve and then Hopper, but like only for
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
Hopper,
two seasons.
too.
And then Nancy maybe is my third. Although again,
Mm.
like only for the first two seasons. I didn't like
Yes.
her in the third season. She was just being kind of rude.
Alexi's my favorite character.
Honestly, he's just
he had
like
a Slurpee.
he's a cute character, but
Overhyped.
yeah, people memed him too much to where now I'm like, bro, did you like even watch it? Because I know half these people probably didn't watch it. Just like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. Because that's how that works. I'm just
I'm
like,
not a big fan of
yeah.
characters who don't actually undergo like character development. They're not going to be my favorite character. If you just show up and you're sort of cute and then you die, and be like, oh, okay. Like
Good
Alexei
for
was
you.
fine. He served his purpose, but he's not going to be my favorite character because what I like
I
about
just
Yeah.
thought it was
characters
fun. I mean,
is
that was
like,
clearly a joke,
yeah, I know, but there
but
are genuinely people who's like, oh my gosh, Alexei. Like in the same way that Barb's not going to be my favorite character because the point of her was to like die.
Start the
whose
whole
favorite
thing,
character
literally.
would be Barb? She was in like 2 episodes,
I don't
and then
know.
she died. She didn't even. She wasn't barely even important, and then everyone just moved on with their lives. Like they barely even cared about Barb.
Yeah, but
No,
all
Nancy
the
cared.
They were
Nancy
sad for
cared.
like half an episode, and then they were like, "All right, back to everything else in our life."
Well, no, I mean that's not really true because like Nancy was trying to figure out what was happening to Barb.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's like part of what launched her into the plot. And then like at the beginning of season 2, they had all that stuff with like Barb's parents, like that scene where Steve and Nancy are like over at Barb's parents' house eating KFC. It's like really awkward.
That was weird. I was like, what is happening?
But it was good. Like I felt like that
Yeah.
actually functioned comedically in an
Mhm.
appropriate way because it was a comedic scene, but it actually had thematic weight. What the thing that bothered me about season 3 was I felt like there was a lot of stuff that they just did for like the jokes or the memes, and
They need
I
to
just felt
stop
like there
listening.
was a lot of stuff that wasted time. I feel like artists shouldn't necessarily listen to fans or pay attention
Yeah.
to what
That's
fans are saying.
Yeah, they need to stop listening to what all the fans say because honestly, half these people start it as a joke and then they're like,
I
"Oh,
don't
it's
think
getting
that's always
popular."
true.
I don't think it's always true, but I think that there becomes a problem, especially now with the internet, because you can see what everyone's saying all of the time, that it becomes obsessive. It's not that artists shouldn't listen to fans at all, but I think that you
They shouldn't
shouldn't,
just throw things in for fan service.
yeah, and you shouldn't really write a story based off of what other people like or what. If you're doing things because you think that people will want it, it's not going to create the
It's not
best
going to be as
story.
good. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I feel like so many of the things were like so many of the things in season 3 were just basically, oh, people responded positively to this before, so we're just gonna do like way more of this. Like the whole thing, people found the whole like MILF thing with Billy in season 2 funny. And so they're like, we're going to devote an entire trailer to this. And then like the whole beginning of Billy's plotline was like him trying to have sex with Mike's mom.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's too
why?
much. That's
Yeah.
too much, man. You can chill.
Which I would have
He's
I wish
married.
we saw more of like Billy literally being taken over by a monster. Like
Yeah, I feel like
that was so good.
Billy's plotline is very weird to me because it was sort of nothing. Like they
Mhm.
devoted a lot of time, but it didn't actually mean anything for his character.
Wish they had developed him a little bit more before they
Yes.
killed him off. Because
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like he had so much potential.
Yeah, I
Like, a
really
lot
liked Billy as a
more.
character. I didn't like him as a person, but I liked him as a
Yeah.
character.
He was
Yeah.
an interesting character and he had a very interesting function in the plot in season 2. The fact
Mhm.
of like having someone be a rival for Steve, which
Mhm.
sort of motivates Steve's character development, and then also someone just like having someone to be racist, that just drives an interesting conflict, because it's like having a character who is a like human level like antagonist, I think,
Mhm.
is cool. And
And I
then
think it was
It's not
very
as like, especially in a show where everything is like supernatural villains.
exactly,
And it
Mhm.
brings you back down to like the reality of the show. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that was something that they needed more of, and they just kind of. I was really, honestly, I'm genuinely pretty mad about what they did to Billy.
yeah, me
He
too.
deserved. The character was such an interesting character, had so much room for development, and even like growth. I would have loved to
Mhm.
see him somehow redeemed.
And that's the
Maybe
thing.
not like as a
I
becoming better, but like doing
Yeah.
something that helps people or helps the group or saving someone's life or
Yeah.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
he didn't need to be Steve 2.0,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the way that like I shouldn't say this. I don't hate the redemption through dying thing all the time, but I think it's very
Yeah.
hard to actually do that in a meaningful way because Billy's death was like he like sacrificed himself, which is like
Yeah.
interesting, but doesn't mean anything to his character
Yeah.
because
Because they
we
hadn't
knew that he cared about
shown.
Max
Yeah.
before, but he was a terrible brother and he was
Yeah.
abusive towards her. And so, you know what? It's like, Billy never had a point where he was like, oh, Lucas, you're actually pretty cool. And I'm sorry that I was racist.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which even
just-
still,
Which he
like
didn't need that.
I think-
I'm not saying that he needed
I think
that.
having him,
Yeah.
having him fully redeem himself and be like, now he's the super nice guy, he's everyone's friend. That would have been
Yeah.
really frustrating for him to
They would've
become
just-
that. It would have
like
been like
Reagan
a
said-
Hopper level thing where it's just like now he's a new character and not the same person.
And like Reagan said, I feel like we don't need a Steve 2.0 because like you already did that. Don't do it again, sort of thing. And because I feel like Steve actually had growth.
I don't think Billy's personality in general would lend it to him becoming Steve 2.0 because Steve did not have the problems that Billy had.
Yeah, he wasn't just a
Billy-
horrible person. He wasn't a horrible person.
Billy has a lot of issues, and I feel like probably a worthwhile redemption might have ended with him dying or leaving the show in some permanent capacity, but it needed to be in such a way that actually meant that he learned some sort of a lesson in a meaningful way. His death at the end of season 3
Have
didn't
him die for
signify anything.
Lucas.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like having him die for Lucas, sacrifice himself, and say she's the one. You're the one she needs more, or something like that. Would have been a meaningful
Yeah.
death for his character.
yeah, and that's the thing about his entire plotline is that because of the way that the whole body snatcher situation worked, he didn't actually have he didn't have a character arc to undergo because he wasn't conscious for most,
Yeah.
like he was just a drone for the
He was a
entire
puppet.
season. So it's
And-
like,
Kidnapping people
yeah,
For a reason.
and using their bodies. And since
Yeah.
we're talking about deaths in
My
season
favorite.
2,
Bob,
yeah,
Bob.
didn't
The
like
problem with
I
Bob
didn't like
is
him
that
from the start.
the problem with Bob is that it was like very obvious that he was gonna die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he was
He
too nice.
was-
He was too good.
he was the red shirt.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, he was just this guy who was like perfect in every way and gave good advice.
Really quirky.
And quirky. Yeah.
And
And
also
also-
had no skills to survive conflict.
Yeah. It is my rule that so if between seasons a character is introduced and they're already dating a pre-established character, that new character is either going to die or it's going to end in a breakup.
Yeah.
Or they'll be the villain.
Yeah, but if it's a decent
Which I guess is
show,
the breakup.
they don't end up being the villain. You pre-establish that character and then you build to it more. But not all shows are decent shows.
Like
Most
I wasn't
shows,
mad
I would
when he
argue,
died.
aren't.
Yeah, I literally was like glad he died. I was like, please get him away. I found him annoying, honestly.
I liked him. I thought he was
I
I
didn't.
thought he was fun, but I also didn't like him I liked him as a person, but not a character. It's the opposite of the
Yeah.
Billy situation.
Yeah, and I feel like
Yeah.
there's always this like weirdness for me whenever there's like a step parent character being introduced.
Yeah.
And if they're not set up, if they're introduced as like, okay, this is mom's boyfriend, rather than being like, this is a character and now I get to know them and then they start dating, because that feels too real. Because that's part of my own life is, I don't know, I've probably told you guys about this, but basically my mom, when I was in, I don't know, like second, second grade, third grade. My mom was dating this guy, and I met him once or twice before they got engaged. And then it was like, okay, I don't know this guy. I don't particularly like this guy. He seems fine. Like, I have no objections to him. He's like a nice person, but I don't know him. And so I don't want him around. And that's how I felt about Bob.
Yeah, I found him too annoying. Until
he was
actually
out
did
of
something to help.
place.
Yeah.
He was out of place. I honestly don't think he was a bad character, which I rescind what I said before. I think he could have been an interesting character in the plot if he was introduced in a different way and developed in a different. But I think introducing that character was going to lead with him dying. Like, he would have ended up dying eventually, whether or not they introduced him a different way. It was just that's a character that will die.
Yeah.
It was written to perish.
Yeah.
And in season 2, did y'all like the whole 11 come back seeing her sister thing? No?
No. It was stupid. It was pointless. It was a backdoor pilot.
Oh. Wait, what?
The episode where 11 goes and hangs out with that gang of punk kids in the city.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Sister.
Yeah, to find
that was really weird.
Yeah, and it was because that was a backdoor pilot for a spin-off that they wanted to make. Which
the stuff with her mom was weird.
I mean, because there was stuff with her mom. No, okay, so Hopper found her mom in season 1, right? And then 11 went to see her mom in season 2. Am I remembering this correctly?
I think so.
Like, Hopper and Joyce
I think so.
Her mom.
I'm not sure if they saw. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That whole thing just felt weird and out of place to me. Like, I think it was interesting, but I think the show would have functioned without it, and it was just thrown in to be another mystery.
I feel like the problem is, and it looks like they're going to do more with that in season 4, but I feel like the problem is they just sort of have been building on it they didn't build on it at all in season 3, but like season 1, it was a part of like the steps in unraveling the mystery, so I didn't really mind it. Season 2, it was just like its own sort of thing, because season 2 when 11 left, and like that whole plot line was just sort of this strange cul-de-sac.
It was weird.
And so they were trying to build on that mystery from season 1, which was sort of in the background in season 1, giving it its own plot line, but didn't actually resolve anything. And it doesn't really work when, like, you can't take like one episode each season and then just like build on this mystery. Like, you have to actually focus on it and resolve some stuff.
I did like what they did with her learning more about her power, though. With it, I did like that, but
there was some good stuff in it.
I appreciate her like reuniting with her sister or whatever, but like with the whole gang thing and like didn't they like go fight people or something like that? Like,
yeah, I mean,
it was trying to get her. Like, I appreciated the character development that 11 went through it, but I didn't feel like she might have needed those people.
She was just so out of place there. It was just like...
I think it was not good storytelling, the fact that 11 had to go off on her own and interact with a set of completely new characters in just like this very out of left field plot line in order to undergo that character development. You know, we talked about how season 1 did a really great job of all of like the storylines weaved together in a way that everything contributed to everything else, even if not necessarily like in the show, like in at least the audience's understanding of events. You do not need to know any of the things that happened to 11 in her plotline in season 2 to understand what is going on for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
I feel like what they were maybe trying to do was to like see that she knows her place, like that it's not with those people but that it's with her original community of people. I think might have maybe what they were trying to do with it, but
they could have done that a lot faster and a lot simpler.
They didn't need to dedicate an entire episode. And the reason that they did dedicate an entire episode was because they were trying to see if audience would respond well so they could do a spin-off, which...
I would argue that's not storytelling. That's marketing.
Yeah, it
It's true.
is. But I mean,
Like, I feel like they
I
introduced
don't.
Max so seamlessly, and then they tried to introduce Maya, her sister, and it was just like two completely different things. I was like,
Max
The
was
other
part of the plot.
Yeah.
this is true.
Sorry.
The other
Right.
characters that got introduced, which would be like Max and Billy, Robin,
Mhm.
Bob.
Bob, those
Marie.
four, I would say, are the primary ones that got introduced in the later seasons. And
Mhm.
they got introduced in interesting ways that related to the plot and were used to develop it in some way first. Bob a
Mhm.
little less so than the other ones, but
But
Robin
Bob
was introduced
contributed.
well too. Yeah, they all did. Is my point. Like
And he
they
contributed in
to
multiple
the
ways. He contributed both to helping them defeat the monsters, and also like contributed to Will's character as well, and Joyce's.
Yeah, which
So
he was a good character in those ways at least. And
Mhm.
the ways, like I said, the ways they introduced those characters was including them with the rest of the characters
Mhm.
and having a way where they were working on, like, very purposefully worked in and chose to join the plot
Mhm.
rather than just being like, oh, look at that, they're here.
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
Which I feel like I hate, like that episode with 11 and the 11 in the gang. I hate it probably less than a lot of people. Like, I really don't mind it. I actually like it in shows when they'll do like an episode that's like completely separate from the rest of the show and just following one character. But the thing is, Stranger Things is not a show to do that. Because like we said,
Yeah.
Stranger Things is a show that weaves its plot lines.
Their whole thing is weaving plot lines of multiple people
And
together.
the other problem with, like, if you're going to do that in a show, that episode needs to stand up on its own. It needs to be so good that people do not mind that it doesn't necessarily contribute to the greater whole.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do. And that was not an amazing episode.
One of the places that Naruto failed. I have to work
I'm
in
saying,
my
yeah,
anime
like
reference.
I know what you're talking about, but sure, I believe you.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Real quick, things you're excited for season 4.
Hopper.
Yes,
I want to see what this man is doing.
It looks like it's going to be a return to form. Yeah, he's in Russia.
Bald.
How did he get there? Who knows? Magic.
He's probably just, complaining about Captain America.
A Demogorgon mixed with a unicorn ate him and carted him across the world.
I hope they reel some things in season 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little scared that they're not going to, because there are going to be at least 4 different plot lines that I know about.
I'm really worried about Erica, honestly. I don't think she's got enough potential to truly contribute to the plot.
Yeah, I'm
worried she'll
what they're
play the
actually,
same role she did.
I'm wondering what they're actually going to do. I don't think she's going to die.
I don't think they could
like
kill
a
her.
13-year-old.
Yeah, which is the issue. Like, if she was an adult, she would die, is the thing. But they can't do that.
Yeah.
She's not important. She's not going to contribute, I don't think. She doesn't have any special skills, except for sass. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we can't have America without Erica.
Oh my gosh. See, that's the other thing, is that I just hated her. Everything that came out of her mouth was wrong.
She wasn't a good character.
And offensive,
let's be honest.
To me. And not funny. But also,
it was only funny because of how bad it was, which is the worst kind of funny to be.
The other thing that I just want to mention is, like, I think I said this, but if I didn't, I'm saying it again. Season 3 did have a lot of good character moments in with all of the stuff that I felt like was wasting my time, and I really did love, like, Steve and Robin, and I love the way that they, like, you thought they were gonna get together, and they were just like, no, like, they're just gonna be friends. Yeah. And that was very cute.
Which is fine. Yeah, sometimes that's okay. You don't need to have every single time there's 2 characters around the same age of opposite gender, they don't need to date.
Exactly. And I think it served Steve's arc well, and Robin was just an interesting character.
Yeah, to show that he can. I agree. I think it was to show that Steve can just be friends with a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't. Because Steve was looking for validation because he was a loser, in season 3,
Mhm.
and he was not used to that. All of his friends
Yeah.
were like 12, and
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope in season 4 they do something good with Nancy and Jonathan.
yeah,
And I
Yeah.
almost hope that they don't do it with them together. Like
yeah.
splitting them
Well,
up a little bit would
It
be
looks
great for their
like
characters.
Nancy's gonna be paired up with Robin for a lot of the season, which I
Mhm.
think
And
is an interesting thing.
does Jonathan go with Will, Joyce, and Eleven to wherever they're moving
California, yeah. They all
Mhm.
moved together, so they're all gonna be
Yeah.
so I think
to? Now,
Nancy
I wanna see that family dynamic without Hopper. And
yeah, I think
I wanna
that'll
see
be
more
interesting. I
of like
I
like
want
Jonathan,
Hopper to
Will,
come back. I
and
want a
Eleven.
scene where Hopper comes back and they're all really happy. That's all I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
want.
honestly, yeah. I also I like family. I like blended family dynamics. I think that's always fun. I like found family.
I want
think
more of Mike and Nancy too. I feel like they have
Mhm.
a lot they could do together.
which I don't think is gonna happen this season because Mike is like going to California, and I'm
All the
assuming
time.
Nancy's gonna be in Hawkins. So
We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited. This is going to release after the show
Yeah.
is out.
just so that
Mhm.
the audience knows, it is the day before the new season releases that we're
Yes, so
filming
this will
so-
definitely be out after. Just to let you know, we
We're
know it's
not
out.
stupid.
We're not just like, oop, we didn't watch it. Ooh, when is it coming out? No, we're not stupid. I mean, we are, but
It's sometimes.
different ways.
No.
Different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Stranger Things is good.
Yeah,
Good
it's a
show.
good show.
And I hope
even if with our criticisms of the show, it is still a very good show. And
Mhm.
in my opinion, one of the technically best shows that there is out there right now, especially on Netflix.
Yeah.
I feel like they
And-
need to return to what they did in season 1 almost.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, I think if they
fix
can
it.
reel it in a little bit, it doesn't need to be exactly like season 1 because I think things are going to be bigger and things are going to be the plot lines are going to be more spread out, but the plot lines
You don't need to
actually
make them too big. Connect them
yeah,
together.
yeah, but
Mhm.
as long as they are connected, and I think the biggest thing is
Relevant.
as long as they're connected thematically, I don't necessarily need everything to always contribute to each other. But if the characters are just doing completely separate things, and half of the characters don't even have any actual development, and it doesn't matter, it's like what? So
Why was this here? Why
Exactly.
did I need to see this? I mean, things, but no things.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have high hopes. And even if it's not, even if they don't, it's gonna be a good season. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I
So,
doubt there's anything that they could do where I'll be like, yeah, I'm just like not gonna even watch. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna even keep watching. Like I didn't rewatch season 3. I've rewatched the first 2 seasons after I originally watched them. I didn't rewatch season 3 because I just didn't care enough, but I'm still gonna keep watching. Like I'm watching season 4 and I'll probably like you said, probably watch season 5. So
yeah.
it's a good show. Good characters. I just hope that they do more with the characters this season. Because
Yeah.
that was my big disappointment in season 3 is I felt like a lot of the characters just sort of got forgotten about and didn't actually get to have anything real in the way of like plot lines or character development that was meaningful.
Yeah, it was like they wrote the story and then they were like, ooh, what are we gonna have them do? Put all the rest of the plot on the other characters.
Yeah. Especially
Yes,
the
they'll
main
be
kids.
here.
What was Will doing the entire time? Nothing. Having a crush on Mike?
Will's never done anything. What has Will done to progress the plot except for get kidnapped?
This is an opportunity for Will to actually be more of a character. And
Yeah, I really want them to give him something. Everyone
to
else
do
has
actively,
something.
rather than
Or
something
even just
happening
keep
to
lonely.
him.
A character. Give him a personality.
Yeah,
His personality right now is being lonely. Like he doesn't.
yeah, that's the thing that's
He's
so.
They can just
there.
cry in a hole, I
They
guess.
had a lot of
That's
stuff
just-
going on.
friend.
They had a lot of stuff going on with the kids at the beginning of the season in like the setup, but then it didn't. I feel like a lot of it just didn't end up going anywhere. Like they had a lot of stuff, you know, Mike and 11 breaking up, Max and Lucas fighting, Will being like, I want to play D&D, and also I'm a bit gay, and Mike being like, oh, well, I'm so sorry that we are not gay and don't want to play D&D and want to hang out with our girlfriends. I'm so sorry that your growth was stunted by the fact that you were stuck in a nightmare dimension for like a week. I want to hang out with my girlfriend, but we can't be alone together with the door closed. My life's so hard. Anyways, what's Billy doing? Oh, having his soul sucked out of his body? Oh well.
Good times.
Sorry
Congrats,
about that, Max.
Yeah.
All
Anyways.
right. Channel cleanup stuff. So there will be one more episode, I want to say, before the end of the season.
Yeah, whatever
Which
you
will
guys
be
decide
just
to do.
yeah, it's just gonna be me and Waffles. I
We're
think
just
we're gonna have
gonna-
a few things releasing in the break.
There's an entire episode that we filmed that we realized didn't make sense without visuals, so we're just gonna upload that on YouTube as like a bonus thing. So look forward to that
Which
stuff.
is personally
Subscribe.
one of my favorite episodes. So if you're watching somewhere else, please go watch it. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, subscribe to our
it's
YouTube
fun.
channel and look out for that because that was a fun time.
Speaking of
So.
subscribing, go check out our other stuff. I got a Twitch. I stream a lot, and not a lot of people watch, so you should come. Reagan has a YouTube. But in any case, if you miss us during our hiatus, there's not really that much. We will still be here. We just won't be here, you know?
Exactly. We'll be here. We'll be on YouTube, but not Spotify or Amazon. So.
And I'll be on Twitch.
Yes, and I
all
might
alone.
Be on Ethan's Twitch occasionally, hanging out, sending him memes.
Yay!
Madelyn's gonna be on a cruise, so
Yeah, I'm gonna be in
You
Europe.
can go find her there.
yeah.
Yeah, just come find me. Actually, like we do every episode.
Show up on the boat and
We
watch
actually
her.
give my address out every episode, so
Yeah.
if you want to know where I will live 135000000.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
And also, you didn't give any other information except for
Road Street,
That's
California.
Yeah.
No, you gotta say a fake place. Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arizona, which as we all know is not real.
Alright, we're ending
Yep.
this.
Ka-chow.
And as always, Kachanka.
Timbus Crimbus.
That's it.
Yep.
Goodbye.